Breaking news! There's been a revolution in France. The French have overthrown their king, demanding freedom and democracy. But what does this mean for Britain?
This revolution is a chaotic disgrace. Why would we disrespect centuries of tradition? The disgrace is in obeying kings. The revolution is a victory for progress and freedom.
Yes, we must stand up for our rights, including women's rights.
Well, I don't know about all that.
These revolutions sparked intense debate. Who deserves power? Are all people equal? Enter Mary Wollstonecraft, who made the radical argument that women deserve freedom and education. So how did she make her voice heard in a world that saw women as inferior? Today's mission: to explore how Wollstonecraft structures her argument advocating for women's equality. When the French Revolution started in 1789, it kicked off a lot of debate in Britain. France had overthrown their king. Should England do the same? And the French revolutionaries created a Declaration of Human Rights. Should English citizens demand rights too? Before news shows and social media, political debates happened through pamphlets. It got so heated, it was called a pamphlet war. And Mary Wollstonecraft jumped into the battle of words with her essay, A Vindication of the Rights of Woman, arguing that the Enlightenment ideals of freedom and education should also be granted to women. Some people praised her writing, while others criticized her for being too emotional, but they all read what she had to say. So what can Wollstonecraft teach us about arguing for what we believe in? Well, she uses the basic elements of argument. She establishes purpose, develops ideas, addresses other perspectives, and concludes. But exactly how does she use each element to impact the audience? We'll analyze 4 excerpts that show those elements in action. First, like most writers, she establishes her purpose. But Wollstonecraft does something else too. As you listen, consider, what element of argument does she use along with establishing purpose? To account for and excuse the tyranny of man, many ingenious arguments have been brought forward to prove that women are not allowed to have sufficient strength of mind to acquire virtue. Yet it should seem, allowing them to have souls, that there is but one way to either virtue or happiness. If then women are not a swarm of ephemeran triflers, why should they be kept in ignorance? So what's she using here? Take a moment to reflect. She establishes her purpose and addresses other perspectives. You'll see that throughout the essay. She's constantly tearing apart opposing ideas in order to prove her own points. Let's take a look. She says that men explain their tyranny, or total control, by claiming women don't have the strength of mind to learn. But she says if you agree that women have souls, like that women are people, then surely they can learn the same way as men. So she establishes her purpose with a moral principle, or universal truth, about right and wrong, by stating that women are rational humans just like men. And she addresses other perspectives by attacking them, calling men who oppose her tyrants. And then she brings those 2 elements together with a rhetorical question that directly engages the audience, basically asking, if women aren't just foolish airheads, why are you keeping them ignorant? Now let's see how she develops those ideas by giving examples from society. As you listen, consider, what societal problems does she point out? Women are told from their infancy and taught by the example of their mothers that softness, outward obedience and a scrupulous attention to a puerile kind of propriety will obtain for them the protection of man, and should they be beautiful, everything else is needless for at least 20 years of their lives. So what problems does she point out? Pause to reflect. She's highlighting that at the time, women were raised to think they should be soft and obedient above all else. Remember the opposing perspective she opened with. Some people claim women just naturally lack reason. She pushes back here, saying, actually, society discourages women from pursuing education. And did you catch that sarcasm at the end? Women just need to be beautiful and a husband will take care of them. For a while. That makes the reader think. What happens when their beauty fades and there's no one to protect them? And do you notice that, again, while she's developing her ideas, she's also addressing other perspectives? She uses her examples to highlight the flaws in her opponent's way of thinking. So, she's addressing perspectives all the time, but now we'll see her directly critique another writer, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, a philosopher who argued that men should be educated to be independent and rational, but that women should be raised to please and depend on men. As you listen, think. What steps does she take to counter Rousseau's ideas? To reason on Rousseau's ground, if man did attain perfection of mind, it might be proper that his wife should rely entirely on his understanding, and the graceful ivy clasping the oak that supported it would form a whole in which strength and beauty would be equally conspicuous. But alas, husbands are often only overgrown children. So what steps does she use? Take a moment to reflect. She starts by reasoning on Rousseau's grounds. Basically, okay, let's assume you're right and think through this. That makes her seem reasonable. Then she explores his idea, saying it's true in theory. If a man really was perfectly sensible, then sure, maybe his wife could completely rely on him. But then she disproves him with a counterexample, pointing out that plenty of men are not so perfect and literally calling them overgrown children. Ouch. Wollstonecraft is not pulling any punches. Okay, so now let's see how she concludes. Remember that she opened by asking, why should women be kept in ignorance? Well, she brings her argument full circle by answering that question. Women are kept ignorant, so they stay obedient. And she makes this point by creating a binary choice between two options. As you listen, think. What binary choice does she create, and how does it impact the audience? Strengthen the female mind by enlarging it, and there will be an end to blind obedience. But as blind obedience is ever sought for by power, tyrants are in the right when they endeavor to keep women in the dark, because they want only slaves. So what's the binary choice, and what's its impact? Take a moment to think. Did you catch it? She creates a binary choice to support women's education or support tyranny and slavery. How would that impact audiences? Think about the context. France just overthrew their king, and Enlightenment thinkers are excited about revolting against unfair tyrants. So this binary choice puts pressure on the audience to act. There's no neutral option. If you don't actively support women's rights, you do support tyranny. And Enlightenment-era thinkers did not like tyranny. Wollstonecraft doesn't just teach us how to structure an argument, she shows us how to make an argument matter. She establishes her purpose as a moral principle, develops her ideas to highlight the problems at stake, addresses other perspectives by constantly challenging her opponents, and concludes by making her readers responsible for their choices. In the lesson activities, you'll meet two other participants in the pamphlet wars who make some very different arguments and structure them in very different ways. And next time, you'll use the elements of argument to make your voice heard.
Hey, hey!